Luke chapter 17, verses 1 and 2. Jesus said to his disciples, "Things that cause people to sin are bound to come. But woe to that person through whom they come. It would be better for him to be thrown into the sea with a millstone tied around his neck than for him to cause one of these little ones to sin. So watch yourselves." The idea is that what do we do about pedophiles? What do we do about pedophile priests? And some concern is, well, we need to rehabilitate them, we need to give them a second chance, they can get to heaven. And I have no argument with that. But what we need to look at first is the victims. Let's start with that. Well, if you were to go and talk to a group of prostitutes, you'd be surprised. I would say most of them have had been victims of sexual abuse when they were young. And as a result, they end up in a promiscuous lifestyle. Sometimes actual prostitutes on the street, sometimes just promiscuous in their sexual activity in general. Unable to hold relationships, going through several marriages, in a marriage not being faithful. Now, you don't have to be a victim of sexual abuse as a child to be a prostitute necessarily, or to be promiscuous. I'm just telling you there's a strong correlation that exists there. Furthermore, what about children that are depressed? It's not normal for a child to experience severe depression. And yet, we hear from time to time about children and teenagers committing suicide. They say maybe in one case he left a note, it was grades, too much pressure from parents, different explanations, when the hidden reason that they may not talk about is actually sexual abuse. It's taking place at that time where the burden is too much for them to carry. So sexual abuse of children carries a very big toll. And let's talk about just for a moment what it's like to be a boy. Now, when you're a boy and even before puberty hits, you just are interested in this whole what's happening with a girl thing. You don't fully get it, you're a kid, but it's just very interesting. And you like watching what adults are doing and kind of get, what's happening. And then puberty hits. And that first experience with a girl, I'm not necessarily saying sex, but I'm saying things like that first kiss, or you hold her close and your body all of a sudden reacts with this tremendous force, and you just, what happened? And you have these wonderful memories that you carry with you throughout your life. With your last breath, and you review back on your life about maybe what life was like when you did things for God or for your family, but definitely in those last moments of life, and as you review your memories of the most outstanding things that had happened to you, good or bad, that memory will be that first sexual encounter, that first moment with that first experience with a girl, and how sweet that was. And how terrible it would be, and it really is like this, that your first experience as a boy is with some guy who's 40 years old, and you every time sleep with your wife, that memory hangs there in your conscience to your last breath. And that's not right. And it's a bit torturous. And I can just tell you that what we want to do to begin with is say that the activities of a pedophile are extreme, and that they cause severe damage, and that it's not a small thing. And from a pedophile's point of view, some of them think they're doing a good thing with children. Actually, even pedophile priests will not acknowledge so easily that what they've done is wrong. Although almost all of them lie about everything that they've been doing, you would think that they had to have some sense if they have to lie to protect themselves, then maybe what they did wasn't right. But in any case, so our first goal is to the victims. And then our second goal is going to be to make a pedophile recognize that his activities are extremely harmful. Okay, now the third thing then is getting a pedophile to heaven. And the way we do this is you get repentance, just like you would for any other type of sin, that lasting repentance. Not just to say it for words because it's the right thing to say in court or, when they're caught, whatever. The idea is genuine, lasting repentance. And then communion. And then they have a right to have forgiveness and carry on. There's a bit of a reputation to continue to go back to their sin. And there may be some truth to that. And how to resolve all these problems is a difficult matter. And what I say about all kinds of things like this that are too much for us. How can we know everything? We sometimes rely too much on doctors, although they're good, and psychologists, although they have value. That's an important part of the treatment plan. I'm just saying we rely too much on it. We just kind of give the thing over to them. When what we really need to be doing is relying on God, and the way we do that is prayer. And prayer is how we handle many of these things.